There's a big mistake that plenty of us dealing with health anxiety make that needs to be changed right away in order to even start the recovery process. I've dealt with severe health anxiety, general anxiety, and panic attacks for around 5 years. And I can tell you that I've been in a very dark, very scary place. But I managed to fully recover from anxiety after making this switch, and I'm certain that you will too. You see, when you are dealing with health anxiety, you always have the feeling that something is seriously wrong with you. You think you will fall ill or even die at any moment, and you are trying so hard to avoid this situation. You went to the doctors, ran dozens of tests, if not multiple dozens of tests. Everything came back clear, and you probably felt a sense of relief. You felt like this was it. This was the information you needed. And now you can move on. But that lingering thought, that what if thought in the back of your head, they once again became stronger. Until you ended up right back where you started from, in full anxiety and panic mode. All the progress you thought you made by hearing or getting some positive feedback, that vanished into thin air. It was useless at the end. You always return to being that anxious, scared person again, urgently trying to figure out what is going on with you. Why is nobody seeing what you are seeing? Why is nobody taking you serious? And if you're like me, you will eventually even think how you will sue all the doctors, all the nurses who didn't take you serious, who didn't listen to what you have been telling them, because you knew there was something wrong. You knew that this test was needed, but they didn't listen to you. They didn't take you by your word. They shrugged you off because of their age, because you look good, you look fine. So it's clear that there is nothing on the outside that can cure or heal your anxiety. There will be no big aha moment. There will be no test that will finally complete the puzzle and give you everything you need to finally move on and be accepting anxiety. That test, that result, that doesn't exist. Even you think that's exactly what you need right now. And you know why? Because it's not the physical symptoms that is keeping you in this loop, in this cycle of anxiety. It's not the physical symptoms that are the main problem here. And I know you think it's the physical symptoms that feel so real and scary, and they are real, of course, that are holding you back. That the anxiety and the sensations you're feeling are the cause for your what-if questions, for your fear, for your anxiety itself. For us, it's always the symptoms. Symptoms. No matter what, our brain cannot focus on anything else. It always gets dragged back into focusing on how we feel, what we are experiencing, what sensations might be a sign of some illness. It is always symptoms. Because what if there's something new? What if there is something more serious now? What if my symptoms are getting worse? What if this is then the sign that it is something serious? What if I'm not prepared for the worst case scenario? What if I'm being reckless by not asking for more tests? Am I putting everything at risk here? And it's exactly this thing that you will have to tackle with the right tools. The what-if questions that drag you always back into the vicious anxiety cycle are the core problem here. That is what you have to understand. And you need to learn to accept and not give in to them. You need to slowly start exposing yourself to these scary anxiety questions that you are asking yourself. By not giving in when things seem to be extremely high stake. Because don't forget, you are in an emergency response state. Your brain thinks you are in danger. You will slowly be showing your brain that everything is okay. If you have cardiophobia or scared of your heart, for example, go for a jog. Regularly increase the intensity and duration and prove to yourself and to your brain that you are fine, that your heart is fine, your heart is strong. Or else how could you be running this fast, this intense, without having a heart attack, for example? And I know that there will be plenty of comments out there saying that it will be all triggering, that you will feel worse. Working out makes it worse. Going for intense runs makes it worse. And yes, that is true. It does make it worse. Or at least it makes you feel worse. Your anxiety gets triggered and you perhaps experience more symptoms in that moment or right after that moment. But hear me out here. You are, in a sense, practicing exposure therapy here. You are supposed to feel somewhat worse in that moment. Like with a spider phobia, for example. You don't jump into a room with 1,000 spiders right away, straight on. But you gradually get nearer to one single spider, bit by bit. And the same exact thing goes for anxiety and your health anxiety worries. Bit by bit, you prove to yourself that you are okay, that you are healthy. And not just that, you specifically tell your brain that even if it feels high stakes, you are fine. You teach your brain that the what-if questions that keep popping up, they aren't necessary anymore. You will be okay. That is the whole point That's the whole process of anxiety recovery. You show to yourself that the what-if questions are not necessary anymore. And when these what-if questions slowly dwindle away, that's when your body can start to rest. Your brain can start to rest. Your nerves slowly start to recover. And the thoughts can slowly become positive again. It is not a switch that can be flipped. It will take time, but you will always get there because you are not broken. And that is exactly what you have to prove to yourself.